To say the absolute least, the last couple days have been a bit of a roller coaster for fans of the Scream series. It all started at Monsterpalooza in Pasadena, California, one of the country's biggest horror conventions, where Neve Campbell just happened to be making an appearance for the weekend. And on Saturday night, the author of the book It All Began with a Scream, Patrick Maroney, received some information from attendees there saying that they heard Neve won't be appearing in the sixth Scream movie. He faced a lot of unfair backlash for this post the next day because not a lot of people seemed to be confirming the rumor, and that led people to believe it wasn't true. But then the following day, Campbell made an official statement herself confirming the news, suggesting that it was because of a salary dispute and not the script itself like the original rumor stated. And this brought about a whole range of reactions, from sadness to anger, with people pointing fingers at others, airing their frustrations and expressing sadness, but also talking about their appreciation for Campbell and their contribution to the series. So I feel like this is the best way for me to get my thoughts and opinions out there, because there's a lot going through my head about the situation, and Twitter only allows so many characters, so a video might be a little better than a tweet thread for me, so here we go. Now, I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm a huge Scream fan. The franchise is one that's very near and dear to my heart, and I'll probably end up making a ton of videos and writing a bunch of articles over time that'll hopefully show and explain why I love it so much and what the series means to me personally. But to stay on topic for the sake of this video, I will say that I adore Neve Campbell's portrayal of Sidney Prescott. Sidney's one of my all-time favorite characters in all of film, and Neve was the perfect person to play that character. She did an amazing job over the course of the series, and I don't think anybody could have done it better. And Sidney's, in my opinion, the greatest final girl in all of horror, and to me that's just not up for debate. So Neve is totally justified in her statement when she talks about her value and being compensated for it. Now obviously I don't know the number that was in question, but I do believe that because of what she's done for the series and the genre as a whole, she should be paid her worth, and the studio or whoever's in charge of the finances should be more than willing to oblige. That's just my opinion on that. Next, I think it's always been inevitable that there will eventually be a Scream movie without Sidney, and even though I was against that for the longest time, after the fifth movie came out, I started thinking about that possibility, and personally by now, I've made peace with it. A lot of slasher franchises have run on way too long to the point of sheer absurdity, looking at you, Halloween, but if there's any series that can continue without such a decline in quality, it's Scream, because at its core, it's a satirical commentary on the slasher genre itself. So as the genre and fan bases continue to evolve and change over time, Scream is always going to have something to say. And I think the fifth movie proved just that. Coming 11 years after Scream 4, there was no shortage of material, and the film took advantage of that. So the series will always find a way to stay relevant and not rest on its laurels. Along with the narratives and the performances of the characters, this commentary is a big part of what makes the series so consistent and enjoyable, and I don't think that consistency is going to diminish if the series continues past the Woodsboro trio. As much as I love these characters, I've accepted that the series is something bigger than Sidney and Gale. It's about the genre, and the genre's never gonna die, so as long as there's something to say, Scream's gonna say it. Going back to the characters though, even though I am upset that we won't see Sidney in Scream 6, part of me feels like it's a good idea. I personally feel like Sidney's arc was done after the third movie, so if the series would have ended there, then I would have been fine with that. The last two movies have felt like bonuses, if I'm being honest. I enjoyed them, but if the series was exclusively about Sidney from the get-go, then it could have ended after 3, and arguably should have. But, like I said earlier, it's about something bigger than Sidney, so I'm fine with the series continuing, and the way they've utilized her character in those two films makes sense to me. Say what you want about the fifth movie, I know some people didn't like it and that's cool, but I feel like even though Sidney wasn't in it very much, she did all that she had to do in that movie. Scream 5 was all about passing the torch, and that's exactly what Sidney did. If that's the last time we see Sidney Prescott, that ending scene was the perfect send-off for her character. However, even though she's not appearing in Scream 6, I still wouldn't rule out a return in a future installment. I actually feel like there are a couple different ways a return could be set up with this film in her absence, but of course I don't know what the team at Radio Silence has planned for this movie, and it's all gonna depend on what ends up happening there, but what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't be saying goodbye to Sidney just yet. It's gonna be really strange not seeing Sidney in the Scream movie, but ultimately, I do feel like it's for the best, and I don't think her departure is gonna translate into Scream 6 being a bad movie. There's still so much to look forward to with the new film, like the continued development of the new cast that was introduced in the last one. I think that's really interesting, because despite what the detractors say, I really enjoyed the next generation of the series, and I'm curious to see what happens with the dynamic between Sam and Tara, along with how they recover from their traumas with their group of friends, and how that experience compares to what happened with the original trio. Plus, there's Kirby coming back, and Gail's probably going to be in a more prominent role here, which I think is going to be a great move considering what happened in the last movie. So with or without Sidney, Scream 6 has a lot going on, and there's a lot to be excited about. All of that being said, I'll close this off by reiterating that Sidney Prescott is the greatest final girl of all time, and I think I speak for every Scream fan out there when I say we appreciate all the dedication and care that Neve Campbell has brought to her character and the franchise over the years. I'll be a little sad not seeing her in Scream 6 next year, but I'll remain optimistic for a return in the future.